Ladies and gentlemen, listen up. You're here because you've been hurt. You've been mocked, laughed at, pushed down. They doubted you. They sneered. They whispered behind your back, thinking you'd crumble. They thought their words would break you, that their scorn would bury you, but you didn't fold. You didn't cry. You didn't beg for their approval. You did something they never expected. You documented everything, every insult, every slight, every moment they tried to tear you down. You kept a record, a ledger of their doubt, a catalog of their venom. And now you're going to use it. You're going to turn their poison into your power, their mockery into your fuel. This isn't just a story of survival. This is a war cry, a call to rise, a battle plan to dominate. So strap in. This is for you. The one who's been underestimated, the one who's been overlooked, the one who's ready to prove them wrong. Let me tell you something. They didn't think you'd make it this far. They saw you as weak, a pushover, someone they could toy with, manipulate, control. They thought their words would stick to you like glue, weighing you down until you gave up. They wanted you to feel small, invisible, worthless. But you were paying attention. You were watching. You heard every snide comment, every sarcastic jab, every "you'll never make it" thrown your way. And instead of letting it destroy you, you turned it into ammunition. You wrote it down. You remembered. You kept score, not out of spite, not out of pettiness, but because you knew. Deep down you knew. Their words weren't about you. They were about them. Their insecurities, their fears, their fragile little egos, desperate to feel bigger by making you feel small, and you refused to let them win. Let's talk about why this matters. Your brain, it's a weapon, a machine built for war. Psychologists call it neuroplasticity. Your mind can rewire itself. It can adapt. It can grow stronger. Every time you choose to focus, to fight, to rise above, you're carving new pathways in your brain. You're building a mindset that can't be shaken. Every time you document their doubt, you're not just keeping a record, you're programming yourself for victory. You're telling your brain, I'm in control. I decide what matters. I decide who I become. That's power. That's the kind of strength they'll never understand. They thought they could break you with words, but you're turning those words into steel. Think about it. Every time they mocked you, they handed you a gift, a challenge, a chance to prove them wrong. You didn't scream back. You didn't argue. You didn't waste your energy on their games. You stayed calm. You stayed focused. You documented. You took their negativity and turned it into a blueprint for your success. That's not weakness. That's strategy. That's the mindset of a warrior. You're not here to play their game. You're here to rewrite the rules, to build an empire on the ashes of their doubt. And let me tell you something they're starting to notice. They're starting to feel it. The shift, the change, the moment when they realize you're not the person they thought you were. Let me tell you about Maya. Maya was a nobody, according to them, a quiet girl in a small town, working a dead-end job. Her co-workers laughed at her dreams. You, start a business? Good luck, they sneered. They called her naive. They said she was wasting her time. But Maya, she didn't argue. She didn't fight. She wrote it all down. Every cruel word, every eye roll, every moment they tried to make her feel small. She kept a journal, a record of their doubt, and every night she'd read it, not to wallow, not to feel sorry for herself, but to fuel her, to remind herself why she was fighting. She used their words as kindling, lighting a fire in her soul. And you know what? Maya built that business. She turned her little side hustle into a 6-figure empire. And those coworkers? They're still stuck in the same dead-end jobs, watching her rise. They're quiet now. They're not laughing anymore. Because Maya documented everything. And she used it to prove them wrong. That's what you're doing. You're not just surviving their attacks. You're weaponizing them. You're taking their doubt and turning it into a roadmap. Every time they laugh, you add another page to your story. Every time they doubt, you add another reason to keep going. You're not just keeping score, you're building a legacy. And let me tell you something, they're starting to get nervous. They can feel the ground shifting beneath them. They thought they had you figured out. They thought they could keep you small, but you're not small. You're a force, a storm they didn't see coming. And the best part? You haven't even unleashed your full power yet. Here's the truth. They mock because they're scared of your potential, scared of what you could become. They see something in you that they don't have, something they can't touch. Courage, vision, resilience. They mock because it's easier than facing their own failures. It's easier than admitting they're stuck, that they're too afraid to chase their own dreams. So they try to drag you down with them. They want you to stay in their orbit, trapped in their cycle of negativity. But you're breaking free. You're rising above. You're documenting their doubt, and you're using it to fuel your ascent. Let's talk about psychology again. There's something called the commitment and consistency bias. Once you decide something, once you commit, you're wired to follow through. That's why documenting their mockery is so powerful. Every time you write it down, you're making a promise to yourself, a vow. You're saying, I'm not giving up, I'm not backing down, I'm going to prove them wrong. That act of writing, of keeping a record, it's not just about memory, it's about reinforcing your resolve. It's about telling your brain, this is who I am, this is what I'm fighting for. And every time you do it, you get stronger, you get tougher. You get closer to the version of yourself they'll never understand. That's the power of keeping score. It's not about revenge. It's not about holding grudges. It's about clarity. It's about knowing exactly who doubted you, who tried to break you, and why you're fighting. Every word they throw at you is a brick you can use to build something unbreakable. A career, a legacy, a life they'll never understand. You're not just documenting their doubt, you're documenting your rise. You're writing the story of how you overcame, how you turned their negativity into your triumph. Let's talk about the end. Not their end, yours. The end of their hold on you, the end of their power, the end of their games. You're not just closing a chapter, you're writing a saga. A saga of triumph, a saga of strength, a saga of a warrior who refused to lose. You're not just documenting their doubt, you're documenting your victory, and it's a victory they'll never forget. So go out there, write it down, every word, every doubt, every reason to keep fighting, and then fight. Fight for your dreams, fight for your truth, fight for the life you were born to live. They can't stop you. They never could, because you're not just anyone. You're you, and you've got everything it takes to win. Now stand up, stand tall, Stand proud. The world is waiting. Your destiny is calling. And you're ready. Ready to dominate. Ready to soar. Ready to be the legend you were always meant to be. So go write your story. Go document your triumph. Go prove them wrong, and never, ever look back.